Okay, that's not what I'm going to be singing. But hey, we're back on for another episode of Relationship Topia, where we are talking about all things relationship, relationship with self, relationship. Oh, I did the wrong order. Relationship with God, relationship with self, and relationship with others. All three important relationships that we should be focusing on every single day. So we have been talking about when a woman loves a man. That's what the last two episodes were about. So we wanted to now just bring our guys in and say, hey, this is when a man loves a woman. These are some of the qualities or characteristics or traits, whatever you want to classify it as, that are demonstrated. And guys, we want you to chime in. If you have others that you want to add to this is not an exclusive list, if you would. This is, a running list. So if you want to add to what we're going to share on tonight, we definitely want you to chime in and give your perspective, because you are the guy and you can tell us better than we know. But this is just from our experience, our education, and the years of working on in the field, in the sphere of relationships. We've gathered this information and we wanted to share it with you all on today. So come on in, get your pad, get your paper, and be ready to jot down some copious notes. As I often say, while this may not directly apply to you, I'm sure you know somebody that's in a relationship or desire to be in a relationship and may need to hear this message. So for if anything else, take the notes and share it with them. Share the love. I can't hear you, Jill. I don't know what happened.
Can you hear me now?
I can. Yep.
Okay, if that happened again, I have to something's with my mic's kind of being weird, but I'll keep an eye on it. If you hear me stop talking and my lips are still moving, then you can let me know and I have to reset. But at any rate, let me say this. First thing, this is a great intro, and we're gonna start off by giving you some tips, and I'm gonna jump right into number one, which dealing with number one, when a man loves a woman, we have to have that love and respect element. And what I shared last time, I'm going to say again today, the respect must precede love. Listen on both sides. So a man cannot love a woman he does not respect. And a man can't love a woman who doesn't respect him.
It went out. And you all, just for very transparent moments here, we are trying out our new mics and getting acclimated with those. So do be patient with us if you're hearing some silence or, reduction in noise. Be patient as we work through these mechanisms of technology. As we know, it's fun to work with technology. It has its quirks sometimes.
Absolutely. So I have to adjust. I'm probably not going to be as loud because I had to detach this main mic here, but let's keep rolling. So with that, the last thing I said was a man can't love a woman that he doesn't respect, and he can't respect a woman
he doesn't love.
I don't want to make sure I get it right. Hold on. A man cannot love a woman he doesn't respect, and he cannot love a woman who does not respect
him. Yes.
So that's really important. And what a lot of times as women, we don't always know what that looks like. But when a man does respect you, one thing he will do is consider your feelings. He will consider your emotions. He will consider how things make you feel. He will care about you, right? These are things and signs. He will show kindness towards you. He will show compassion towards you. He will show support and understanding towards you, and will be committed to being the best version of himself. And as you, as a woman, are letting him know what your boundaries are, what's your standards and requirement, he will work earnestly to meet these as long as it's reasonable. And within his capacity to do so, he will do those things. And these are all signs that he respects you and he loves you. And it don't always have to be love, because let's say this, men don't love as quickly as women. Men don't love, and listen, men will marry women even when they don't necessarily love that woman. If he respects you and you're honorable and you have your stuff together and he cares about you, he may even marry you and learn to grow to love you, because men, it takes more for them to love. It takes a deep level of vulnerability, a deep level of trust. And I'm not just trusting that you won't cheat, but trusting that he can trust you with his heart. He can trust you with his deepest secrets. He can trust you that not be judgmental about his past, about his struggles, and all these things. And a lot of times as women, we got to get there. We're not always there. And it takes some practice, it takes some work, and it takes us being open-minded, because we got to remember one of the things my nephew always say, G, your son Trail, he always says, we're not all good and we're not all bad. Everybody has something. Everybody's going to have a little bit of vice. And we have to understand what you have to be clear on your deal breakers. Now, I don't want to go off the topic. Let me get to the scripture, because I can just go in and in on this topic. But from a biblical perspective, in Ephesians 5:25-33, it emphasizes a call for husbands to love their wives as Christ loved the church, which is, it requires respect and it requires sacrificial love. So for the men, you already know, and I don't even got to tell you this, you won't do it. You won't be with a woman that you don't respect. And women, in order to gain a man's respect, we have to respect ourselves. And what does that mean? That means we have to be a keeper of our word. We can't say one thing and do another. We have to be in alignment with who we say we are. If we have a standard or boundary, we have to uphold it. We have to really be who we want him to be too. Like, it should be a mirror. You can't expect him to do all these things and we're not doing it. And so you can't expect him to, whatever it could be, make a lot of money and buy all these things for you, whatever the case may be, and you are bad with money. Usually people that make a lot of money or that's financially savvy, they don't want to be with somebody who's has reckless spending. You can't expect somebody, to have a 750 credit score, 800 credit score, and your credit score is 600. Like, we need to be who we want them to be. And so a man will respect somebody he sees as equal or higher. And this all has to do with how you spend your time. I'm gonna back off of it because I can go in and in. I know we have more points to get to, but I've said what I wanted to say in terms of that. Understand that for a man especially, we do as women need a man to love us. The only way that can happen is that respect has to be there. We have to earn his respect, and we have to be respectful to him with our words, not challenging him, not giving him advice and telling him what to do. He doesn't want that. We need to learn how to bite our tongue and learn how to submit to his authority, submit to his leadership. Don't marry, don't date, don't be with a man that you don't trust. If you don't like the way he thinks, you don't need to be with that person, because you're not going to be able to respect him and he's not going to be able to love you. I'll leave it there, sis.
That's a good stuff. And I want to expound on that, because I'm excited about this conversation on tonight, because as many of you know, we are in the midst of our 31-day prayer challenge, and we're praying on different topics during that time. One of the topics we're praying on is respect. And I wanted to share some things as it pertains to that. So absolutely, everything you said is absolutely on key and on point. And I just want to give a real life definition of respect. So respect is recognizing the value and the worth of your spouse. Recognizing the value and the worth of your spouse. So when you recognize the value and the worth of your spouse, and I'm going to just speak from a wife's perspective, a wife showing respect can be as simple as listening attentively when her husband speaks and making him feel valued and heard. When we do that, just in that alone, Jill, he feels respected. We tend to think that men don't want to be heard. They don't care about emotions and feelings. And that's absolutely not the case. They have the same feelings and they desire the same things that we desire. But because we look at them as this hard exterior shell and expect them to be these supernatural beings because they are the man, and we have sometimes a warped idea or perspective of what that looks like, we don't take in consideration their desire to be to be heard and to be valued and to be understood. So we have to see what that respect factor looks like as it pertains to the male in particular, and what he is desiring. There's also an impact if there's a lack of respect there, right? So if there's a lack of respect that's happening within the marriage relationship or the romantic relationship or relationship with your partner, there are severe negative consequences that are going to happen and take place, right? You're going to see feelings of emasculation. You're going to see feelings of deflation in that person. For example, if you, as the woman in the scenario, frequently criticizes the guy, especially in front of other people, it can damage his self-esteem and lead to communication breakdowns, right? And this fosters resentment and intimacy issues and all of the things. And respect is not always easy, especially when you're learning to respect in difficult times. What are some difficult times, Dr. Trail? Well, difficult times can be building respect after some level of betrayal that has occurred in the relationship, right? So addressing these things and learning how to respect again, and rebuilding the relationship from the basis of, these things have occurred and happened, and now we're in a place where we're trying to rebuild trust, rebuild respect, and so forth and so on. So I just wanted to add those few tidbits because there are reasons why the respect factor is a problem and an issue in many relationships. So we have to get to the root of the problem as to why this is the case. You want to be practical, right? And showing that those ways of respect. Again, the number one need, and that's argumentative by Dr. Gary Chapman. Is it Gary Chapman? Love and respect that a man needs is respect. Respect to a man, love to a man is spelled RESPECT, and love to a woman and respect to a woman is spelled LOVE. I'm gonna say that again. Love to a man is spelled RESPECT, and love and respect for a woman is spelled LOVE. So there are some practical examples of how to demonstrate respect daily within those relationships, including using affirming language, expressing appreciation for his hard work, seeking his impact on family decision, and also allowing him to lead those decisions will be key elements of demonstrating that respect. So now that we've covered the number one reason, and go ahead.
Before you go there, Gary Chapman is the love languages. This guy.
Oh, Emerson. Is it Emerson? It's Emerson. Emerson. Okay.
Love and Respect book.
Thank you. Yeah, that's my guy. I listened to a lot of his podcasts back in the day. I haven't listened to him in some time, but I kind of get crossed over because they have some overlapping perspectives and phenomena. So thank you for that. So the second one we want to look at is communication. I know you probably had tired of hearing about communication, but listen, you need to have effective communication. And this involves, guess what? Actively listening. Actively listening to men. If I'm right, I'm right. Let me know. You want your partner to actively listen to you and not always want to fix the problem, not always coming up with the solution, not always having to drive their opinion. Oh, I think you should do it this way. Listen, men don't want to be course corrected. I'm gonna just say that men don't need you to direct them, to tell you which way to go, tell them which way to go, and things of that nature. They do need and desire you to actively listen. And that is a sign of respect when you listen and take heed to what they're sharing, right? Lack of communication, when there's a communication breakdown within the relationship, that comes with misunderstandings and that leads to feelings of disrespect and resentment. If you're not talking, if you're not communicating, there is no connection within that relationship. And we see many relationships, Jill, that deal with that on a day-to-day basis for various reasons, right? People have dealt with mistrust. People have dealt with breaches of trust. People have dealt with infidelity. People have dealt with, external influences and family circles coming in the picture and causing some level of disruption in that relationship and causing disruption in the communication space. So we want to be sure that we understand that communication is a vital piece, is a vital asset, if you would, a vital piece within that relationship. And then and knowing that that is directly tied to the respect factor. In fact, communication helps build connection and understanding, and again is tied to the respect factor in that relationship. So I want you to ask yourself the question. So I know we have men and we have women that are listening to this, but I'm going to speak to the women right now. What are you bringing to the table in terms of communication that is a sign of respect to your spouse? What are you bringing to the table that will that would assure him that you do respect him. And again, communication is not merely talking. Communication mostly is listening to what he says, listening to his ideas, listening to his ideologies, listening to his opinions and things of that nature. And I know probably 80% of what he says or does, you may not like, you may not understand it, you may not want to go along with it, but for you to simply listen and validate and show understanding, show compassion and empathy, that in itself drives the respect factor. And also that creates a deeper and a stronger bond within that relationship.
That is so good. And I want to say a couple things before we move to the next point. Understand if you and your partner, and my sister is always used to talking to married folks. So I be trying to hold the space for my singles and people that are in.
When I say romantic and partners, yeah.
So when we say spouse, we not to say it is not. We don't use husband and boyfriend or partner interchangeably. However, there's a lot of applicability because you gotta a lot of times be in that relationship before you actually get married, right? So, but with that being said, understand that if communication is slipping in your relationship and you and your partner are not talking, and really they say the experts are saying you need to at least talk to your partner at least for an hour a week, at least. And really that's like the bare minimum, right? Then understand your relationship is dying on the vine.
Man, the vine. Think about the vine. You're on the vine, he's so dying.
On the vine and it's dying.
I'm thinking about a grapevine. I don't know why grapes came to mind. Just
I think
tomato vine.
It definitely gives that resemblance. And understand, in addition to that, communication is intimacy.
Absolutely.
I hold that for men and women. And and we think because we think women always talk, but men want to talk too. And let me say this last thing before we move off communication. Women, we're already going to speak 3 times the amount of words that they're going to speak. So we have to make sure that we're just not talking to them and we're not a talking head. This is what I did. This is how my day was. And let's slow down and say, hey, babe, how was your day? Did you have any challenges today? What's been on your mind? What you've been thinking about? Is there anything that, I can do to support you or serve your goals? What's your top priorities for this week? Like, we need to ask questions and express curiosity and not just dominate the conversation and be a talking head. Communication, we need dialogue. It needs to be a two-way street. And not only that, when he does speak, you're going to have to practice the skills of repeating what he says, to reframe and confirm, to show understanding. We're not just talking and speaking for him to hear himself. You need to show some understanding and how you're going to apply what he's telling you to how you show up in the relationship. This is big. This is big because I know a lot of people have horrible listening skills. I'm still improving mine. I'm learning to be a better listener. I've come a long way, especially all my alpha women, all my women who our bosses know a lot. You're intelligent. I got you, boo. But what the downside of that energy is sometimes we always want to make the decision. We always want to lead. We always want to say, well, this is what we need to do. This is how it needs to be done. And that's what it is. And that energy right there ain't going to work. Not for an alpha man. And I ain't even going to go into an alpha man. He's going to kind of let you know if you're married, especially you are married to a beta man. He may not let you know, but understand he has a problem with it. So you have to be able to have a level of self-awareness and be able to not just wait for somebody to tell you. Listen to body language. Body language is what? 96, 98% of communication. So don't just wait for somebody to tell you something out of their mouth. If their energy is off, then something's off. Energy never lies. But they say men lie, women lie, but energy never does. And that's on that. Okay. That's on
business.
Okay.
That's on business. We talk too much. That's the problem, Jill. We talk too much as women, and for good reason. Sometimes.
What's that song was growing up? You talk too much.
Too much. And you never shut up. 2 ears and one mouth. We have 2 ears and one mouth for a reason. But I feel like because our emotions are more heightened, or we're more in tune. I want to say more heightened. I feel like we're just more in tune and we connect more emotionally. We always want to share. We always want to verbalize. Something my husband and I started doing, especially when we are apart for, a few weeks or a significant period of time, we get together. When we get back together, we get together and he allows space for me to talk. Like he allows space for me to share about my day, my week, what's been going on, and things of that nature. Almost like a decompressing, because he know that that's important. So he allows me to get it, get it all out, and talk about whatever I want to talk about. And he just kind of sits there, not offering any solution, not offering any, fix about it, because we've talked about that as well. Like, I don't always need you to fix it. I'm just talking. So I think individuals in relationships, desiring relationships, can put that into practice in their own relationships. Just have that time where you allow the person to talk. And like Jill's saying, reframe the conversation, not to respond with an answer or solution or a fix, but just to validate what they're saying and to show that level of understanding.
Absolutely. That's good stuff. Let's move on to number 3 thing. We got a couple more. We're going to have another segment.
This might be the last one. Yeah, because we gotta, yeah. And then we have a part 2.
I don't know if we still got 6 things, or are we on number 3? We'll see. So let's see. Number 3 thing is really just the act of service. When a man loves a woman, he will demonstrate this through act of services. Now, I'm going to say support, because that's what it manifests to a woman. And that is demonstrated through a man helping out with daily tasks. Like he should have, men, I guess we're talking to men, right? When man love a woman, and I don't got to tell you what you are, but we're just explaining, right?
Right.
Should show a level of care and concern and wanting to lighten the load and wanting to serve your woman in a way. So we talking to guys and gals, right? So women, this is what you should see. Men, this is what we believe you're doing. We know that you're doing when you're dating a woman. You want to help make things easier for her, because what men understand is that the lighter he makes her load as his girl or wife or whatever the case may be, the more capacity you should have to be able to nurture and support and pour into him. And he cares about your well-being, so he don't want you to be exhausted. And as my dad should say, run around like a chicken with your head cut off. Like that's not, that energy is not feminine energy. That energy is not attractive. That energy is stressful. Most men, like they worry less. They're more chill. They just want to kind of hang out. They're not trying to be, go, dee. Relax, right?
Yeah.
So, and they want to help us relax. And they may do that through service they provide themselves, or they may outsource services, whether it's going to get gas for your car, as we say, maybe helping out with laundry or whatever, maybe just taking care of the yard, trash, all these things. And if you are not together, he still may, say, hey, babe, checking on you to make sure you're good during difficult situations, or when, just showing a care and concern about your overall well-being and safety. Now, when he ain't vibing, would you like that? You're going to see the opposite. You're going to see more neglect, a lack of interest, like common, like leaving you hanging. You know what I'm saying? You'd be like, you know what I'm saying? And as women,
that's not funny.
You'd be like,
he's going to be like, he's going to try to get as far away from you as possible, because you're stressful. You're stressing the man out.
Yeah. And he may have, and it also could be that he felt disrespected by you and now having resentment. And so he wants to separate. Again, an alpha man is going to let you know. You're going to know. A beta man, you may not know why. And so you have to kind of, again, cultivate these skills to try to do that searching and pay attention to the interaction. And so as women, when that happens, when he's not, he's kind of checked out or otherwise not serving you, you're going to start feeling undervalued and taken for granted. And so that's never good, because you're going to start yeah. And then you become a nagging. You're going to start nagging. And it's not even nagging. You're going to start complaining, which men then interpret as nagging.
Absolutely.
You're expressing your frustration.
What that scripture says about a man would rather live on the rooftop of his home than be in the house with a nagging wife or nagging woman. That is absolutely true. Listen, men want peace. We feel like, we just trying to protect our peace. These men want peace. Men, I need you to comment in the chat to let us know that what we're saying is absolutely valid. Like, they want peaceful situations. They don't want to deal with a lot of drama and confrontation and all these things that we always got going on as women. I'm not saying all of us, but I mean, it tends to, be the trend, unfortunately, for various reasons. So we're going to go over one more, Jill, and I feel like we will have a part two to this. And I hope you all are enjoying this conversation. Please, please, please put some comments below. Let us know, if there are other things that you, like I said in the beginning, think about as far as the respect factor when a man loves a woman, just not the respect factor, but when a man loves a woman overall. If you wanted to add something to this conversation, we definitely want to hear from you. The fourth thing is quality time. Quality time. So prioritizing that time together, that does strengthen the relationship overall, and it does allow you to enjoy one another's company, and it deepens that connection. All of that is tied to the respect factor. But when there's a lack of quality time, if a man, let's say, feels neglected or that his needs for companionship are met, it can lead to feelings of loneliness and disrespect. He can feel like you are not prioritizing. You don't care about what he needs, what he wants, what he desires, and things of that nature. And that can be seen to him as a point of disrespect. And when he feels disrespected, he's going to feel a certain way. Now, he may not always say something about that, but he definitely is going to do something about it, be it stonewalling, like you said earlier, Jill, dismissing conversations, shutting down conversation, shutting you out. Honestly, seeking conversations and validations from other people because he feels that you're not demonstrating that respect toward him. So a few ways that quality time relates to respect. Let's just break that down a little bit. Active listening. Once again, that's huge. That's huge. I know we talk about that a lot, but that is so true because most people, and I would argue most women than men, do not know how to actively listen. So when you're spending time, quality time, that encourages active listening where each person feels heard, again, feels value. This shows respect for each other's thoughts, their feelings. You give room and space to be able to do this. You're able to be honest. You're able to be honest and transparent and what you feel, how you feel, why you feel the way that you do. A second way that quality time is tied to respect, if you would, is prioritization. Making the decision, a conscious, intentional choice and decision to spend time. What that does is that signals that you prioritize each other's company. You're prioritizing his company. You're not always wanting to hang out with friends. And and again, sometimes men may not say, they may allow you to go through I've known couples, men have had issues in their marriage relationship and they have said nothing. They've allowed weeks, months, even years, some decades to go by, and they were extremely unhappy. They felt extremely disrespected in that relationship, and they said absolutely nothing. And then one moment they wake up and say, I don't want to be here anymore because all these years I did not feel respected. Now, I don't agree that that's how it should go. I feel that there should be communication on the onset so individuals will know what's going on, but that does happen, right? So we want to make sure that we understand all of these dynamics to what respect looks like, and that we are intentional about demonstrating that respect and intentional about our love factor. Well, men are intentional about their love factor when they love a woman.
That is all good stuff. This is what we have to say about that until next time, because next time we will continue the conversation and give in two more elements that we have that we want to share when a man loves a woman. But I feel like we did some justice today. And so make sure you share this out, subscribe, and leave us a review. Make sure you leave a review for this podcast, depending on what platform you're in, on all the things, and share it with a friend. So until next time, peace and blessings. We'll continue the conversation, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.
Peace and blessings. Bye-bye.